he saw a beautiful young girl. He took interest in this. He brought his airplane lower and lower and lower. And when he saw the details of the beauty of this young lady, he was enamored. And she was very, very unusual. She was a young girl, all alone in the Himalayan jungles. Her body covered with simple deer skin, and her lovely black locks of hair were matted like a sage. She was sitting on kusha grass in meditation on the holy syllable Om. He came down and spoke to her. She opened her beautiful eyes that were like bumblebees. And he asked, "Who are you? What are you doing? You are so beautiful." I'm not going to quote all the things he said because I don't have that qualification. But he was describing her beauty. Certainly, you require an escort. You're all alone in the middle of the jungle. Is it that you have no father? Is it that you have no husband? I am Ravana, the king of the Asuras. I would like to know who you are and what you're doing here. She said, "My name is Vedavati. And I have accepted that the only man that I will ever marry is Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. So I have been year after year after year performing tapasya to attract Vishnu, to have a heart of such pure devotion that Lord Vishnu will accept me." Vedavati. There was a great sage living in that jungle named Kushadvara. He was a pure sage. As he was reciting Vedas, this girl was born through the recitation of Vedas. Because Veda is the mother. So her name is Vedavati. And because she was born from the recitation of Mother Veda, Krishna says in Gita, Vedaischa Saramveraham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Veda Vedeva Chaham, that all the Vedas I am to be known. So naturally, she gave her heart to Vishnu, to Krishna. Vishnu is his worst enemy. When somebody like this wants to control and enjoy someone, and they say, "I am the property of your worst enemy," that's intolerable for someone like Ravana. He started blaspheming Vishnu, and she could not tolerate it. She said, "I will have nothing to do with you. Get out from here. I will not listen to the blaspheming of my beloved." He said, "You will be mine." And he grabbed her by her matted hair to drag her away. But to his great surprise, Vedavati, by her mystical power, she took her hand and went and cut her hair. And he fell back. And instead of having her, he just had a handful of matted hair. He was very angry. It was a yogic anger, though. It wasn't like our anger. She said, "Because I have been touched by you, such a scornful, envious blasphemer of the Lord. Because I have been touched by you, I cannot bear living in this body anymore. I will give up my life, and I will take my next birth from the earth. And in that next birth, I will be the cause of your death and the destruction of your entire dynasty. Then by her yogic siddhis, she meditated on the fire element in her body, and her body burst into flames, and within seconds, Ravana was standing in front of her of ashes. So he went on his way. Vedavati was the false or Maya Sita. She's an expansion of Sita, the supreme goddess of fortune. And by the power of Agni, Vedavati, she went into fire. Agni took the original Sita in the fire, and then he delivered the Maya Sita, Vedavati. And Ravana took her off to Shrivana. After the war, Ravana was slain and Sita was brought back. Some people wonder why Lord Ram wanted to test her this way. It seemed really cruel. We will discuss that in detail later. Slight second were attracted to Ravana, then I cannot have you back. The whole war. And Sita told Lakshman, bring wood, I will enter fire. And the fire cannot burn me if even for a second I was not faithfully, with all chastity, remembering my beloved Ram. So she entered the fire. And Agni brought the original Sita back. And Vedavati Sita entered into the fire. Now, according to the story of Venkateshwar, the original Sita, she appealed to Ram that Vedavati, she was performing so many years of tapasya to get you to be her husband. And then she, on my behalf, as my expansion, endured 10 months of living with Ravana, being harassed, emotionally tortured constantly, and was perfectly chaste, constantly fixed in remembrance of you. Please marry Vedavati. That's her heart's desire. Lord Ram said, in this incarnation, avatar, I have not only I will come again and I will marry Vedavati. Vedavati incarnated next as Padmavati. And there's a whole story of the Venkateshwar temple of how Ram or Vishnu appeared as Srinivas and accepted Padmavati as his beloved wife. Now back to here in Rameshwaram. Chaitanya is reading this in the Kurma Purana. How it was a Maya Sita. He was very, very happy. He was thinking, I have to bring this back to Ramdas-Vipra. So Lord Chaitanya, he was so concerned with Ramdas-Vipra asked permission from the Rameshwaram temple for the original palm leaf manuscripts of the scripture. And the temple had copied a new edition and kept the new one. Lord Chaitanya wanted the original ancient ones because it would give deeper evidence to Ramdas Vipra. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, instead of carrying down south, he went all the way back to Madurai, which is quite a distance. It's about, I think, 160 kilometers. Reversed his course, carrying the Purana. Cooked a really nice one. The Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his South Indian tour, in fact, from the very moment of his birth practically, how we could please him by purifying our hearts through the chanting of the holy names. Lord Chaitanya took birth during the lunar eclipse, which is considered inauspicious in most Hindu tradition. But because it's inauspicious, people want to make it, they want to nullify the inauspiciousness through chanting the names of Hari. So by the Lord's own arrangement, while practically the whole of the continent was chanting the names of Hari, 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 the Lord appeared. He was very happy to appear. In fact, he stayed in the womb of his mother for about 13 months because he didn't want to come out until everyone was chanting. And he arranged for that eclipse. And when he was a little baby, sometimes he'd cry. And because little Nimai was so charming. He conquered everyone's hearts by his glance, by his beauty, by his love. He was just a little infant. And the only thing that would stop him from crying is when the family members and friends would chant Krishna's holy names. And after he was initiated by Sripad Ishwarapuri, the greatest teacher of Sanskrit, grammar, it would take 12 years for a top teacher to teach his students. He could accomplish the same thing in a couple of weeks. So everyone wanted to be his student. But after his initiation, when he started teaching the subjects, all he could do was chant the names of Krishna. He would go into these ecstatic trances of love, and he would explain everything from the perspective of God's names. One day a student asked him, let's get back to the grammar. Can you explain to us about verbal roots? He said, verb means action, and root means the root of action. The root of all action is Krishna. Nothing can exist without Krishna. When Krishna glances upon creation, he activates everything. He's the super soul in every heart. Every jivatma is part and parcel of him. Wherever there's life, there has to be life for there to be action. He's the controller of all controllers, the source of everything. He is the source of all verbal roots. The true understanding of verbal roots is the chanting of the names of Krishna. Then he went on for hours and hours and hours talking about the names of Krishna and chanting Krishna. And he'd come out of this ecstatic trance of love and say, what did I just say? I said, we don't know. All we know is you're always chanting Krishna's names. And one day he said, I can't teach anything except that anymore. So you can find any teacher you like. And they said, once having a teacher like you, we could never accept any other teacher. So teach us how to chant. And the Lord began his kirtan movement with his students. Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then he began having kirtans with the devotees at Srivasangam. And one day, he said to his associates, "We are chanting in the day, but night, we're wasting so many precious moments of this human life sleeping. From this day on, for the next year, we should have kirtan all night long also." You don't sound so enthusiastic. They were enthusiastic. But then he taught them how they could do it. He gave them a verse, to live by this verse. And this is the key, the secret by which we could chant the names of the Lord day and night. Trinadapi sunichena tador iva sahishnana amani namanadena kirtaniya sadahari. Humble like a blade of grass, more humble than a blade of grass. Tolerance like a tree. Taking great satisfaction in offering all respect to others. And not expecting it for ourselves. In this spirit, Lord Chaitanya taught his devotees, we could chant the holy names constantly. And for the next year, all night, every night, the devotees, in ecstatic love, they chanted the holy names in such a way that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that those kirtans at Srivasangam were manifestations non-different than the Rasa Leela of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and their devotees, they were exchanging the deepest, most intimate, pure spiritual relationships with each other and with God through the prime benediction of the chanting of God's holy name. What pleases Krishna is prema, love, nothing else. He doesn't need anything else. He does not want anything else because he has everything. He's the proprietor of everything that exists. He's the one who gives us our intelligence. He's the one who gives us our abilities. He's the one who gives us our bodies and all the facilities of this world. He doesn't need it from us. But if we offer with love, the Lord accepts it. Whether we offer a leaf or whether we offer a beautiful hand-carved temple, if it's given with love, Krishna, who's bhavagrahi, is happy. And in this age of Kali especially, the way to awaken that love is by learning the proper science of Nam Sankirtan, chanting the names of the Lord. This is why sincere chanting is so pleasing to Krishna. Because if it's done with the proper service attitude, with this proper intention of humility and devotion, it awakens his love. And Krishna's hungry for that love. This is a purport to the beautiful pastime of Lord Chaitanya here in Sri Rameshwaram. The next few days we will be discussing the eternal pastimes that take place here and the very deep significance of where we are and where we will be visiting. At this time, we will have Nam Sankirtan.